off. Okay. So I just want to recap that, we've been building talking tonight about building professional rapport. And we've been talking about that in regards to rapport through communication and all the essential skills for success in most of our relationships. That's what we've been covering in the majority of these weeks for the mastermind. All of this is to give you the tools necessary to increase your rapport with people. Now, great rapport conveys respect to the other person, and it also creates respect in their mind for you. So that's key. It's not only what we're giving into the relationship or how we're trying to add value, but it's the fact that it creates respect towards you, and you want that, right? Because it makes it so much easier to have relationships in every capacity. So many of the principles, techniques, and skills that I've taught in the masterclass is a way to communicate past someone's barrier to their subconscious mind. And there were techniques that I gave you personally, taught you to use for yourself, that you're going to be able to work with on a regular basis. And that it also deals with the things that are going on in the subconscious level for you, which affects communication, right? So to help, all of this is to help you create a greater connection with those that you communicate with. And it is not to be for selfish gain or selfish intentions. Now, I know that in this group, everybody's here to be great leaders and add value, but it merits the importance of being able to create, restate that context, because ethics and integrity matter. And it's about the authentic connections that we're making, right? Not inauthentic. So these techniques are used out there all the time in marketing, and most people are not aware of it. But it's not meant for authentic connection, right? And so gaining influence to guide people the direction you need them to go, whether you run a business and you're trying to get your staff to go in the direction you want, or you're working for a company and you need to get the staff to move in the direction that the company's vision is. And so all of these things will help you to become more efficient at that. And you want these deeper relationships, even with family and friends. And these techniques are going to help you with that. So if we use these tactics with the sole intent to get our objective accomplished, right? Or just to make a sale because we're focused on our bottom line income, or trying to control a person to go a direction we want to have them go because it benefits us. And listen, we all have to kind of check ourselves on that, right? Because we all can be tempted here or there. None of us are, immune to being tempted, right? To try to make something happen because we feel it's the best outcome. But then if we do that, we're not playing the long game. We're not playing the long game. We are playing an inauthentic game. And here's the thing, sooner or later, people will detect it. So with that understanding that is the context in which all of this is to be applied, I want us to share some of our thoughts on using the techniques to increase our connection with people. So, the impact that you're trying to make, do you feel when you're practicing any element that we've covered? Because I know that I gave you guys a lot of content. I've been in master classes before where I couldn't keep up with the content. So I did kind of sort of feel badly and wrestling with my own desire to make sure that I gave you as much value as possible. So I know it was a lot. You're not going to retain it all. But for those things that you did practice, the question I have for us to discuss was, what did it feel awkward in the sense that you felt fake? Or you felt inauthentic about your intent, like just practicing it on people. Let's talk about that for a bit. Was there any place where people felt like, it doesn't feel like real, and it kind of feels wonky trying to get this across at all? And maybe not. So share if you're not. Yeah, great, Mary.
It kind of felt a little embarrassing. I felt self-conscious and a little bit guilty as well. Am I manipulating the other person? But then afterwards, I kind of felt so encouraged because of the results that the other person was kind of on my side. And I just felt like the connection was good, and we became a good team. And I just can't believe, you know, came out of it. So, like using the mirroring and um, looking at the person's personality and, what they need. And it just it made me feel really good. Thank you.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, thank you for applying it. That's exciting. So anybody feel like you had some similar response like Mary Lou, or you have a comment to make about, being able to see that connection happen from applying it? Yeah, Heidi.
I think I had a similar experience. Well, when I'm conscious about it, hopefully I'm getting a little less conscious and it's more fluid. But in the beginning, I kept thinking, okay, wait, I gotta sit like this. And oh, wait, what? And oh, am I paying attention to what they're saying? And just I had to get relaxed with it. I think that was the main thing, that it was, I think that's where that imposter thing was. These are techniques that are going to help. These are both people, right? And so it was more about getting acclimated. So it would be more natural for me. It didn't feel natural in the beginning.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks. And then did you feel any kind of stronger connection with the person as a result? Even just a little bit of a change?
Yeah, I think sometimes it was subtle. I think I thought it would be, I don't know what I thought, but I sort of had to recognize the subtlety of the connections. Like one example is, you were talking about, it's not just us mirroring, but when someone starts mirroring us, that's kind of the sign that they're connecting to us and being more aware of what's happening around me, if that makes sense.
Yep. Who else? Yeah, he told me.
I agree with what Heidi and Mary Lou just said too. I tried the mirroring a little bit, and just like Heidi, at first I felt really like I was focusing on that, and watching their movements more than like listening to it, only because we weren't used to it, right? But as the conversation kind of went along, I felt like it was more natural. I just sort of followed what they were doing. And actually, I tried it recently with a friend, and we hadn't really connected in a long time. And I felt like there was kind of a little disconnect. But as we started kind of doing that, it just, jumped right back into kind of more of a connection again. So, I mean, I don't know if that was a part of it, but I felt like that did kind of help. And it helped me to kind of be in sync with her actually after a while. So in the beginning, it felt awkward, but I think as it went along and we started like talking, it just became more natural that we sort of flowed, or I just wanted to be in sync with her and really hear her and connect with her. The other thing I wanted to share is I've been working on like tonality because I tend to be more soft-spoken, right? And I want to come across now in greater leadership positions that I'm placed in. I want to come across confident and, where I can lead the team, I can cast vision, and people can feel secure in that. And so I think at first I felt like I was not being myself. So I think it's just working it and tweaking it and finding out how to be me, but with a confident tone. Like I don't have to like talk loud or do like this, but just for myself. So I think it's a learning process. And the more you do it, I think, we become, or it becomes more natural to our own personality type as well.
Yeah, I like what you're saying. Like, I have to learn how to be confident. Like, you didn't say this, but it's like the D type of confidence, but in an S way. Yeah, that's important. That's important. Anybody else? How are you experiencing practicing the techniques?
I think practice makes perfect in a sense. I agree with it. Toby, Heidi, and Mary Lou. I think I'm more aware in different situations where I wasn't before. I don't know. I just need to know me and how maybe
Mhm.
maybe I can be a little bit forceful sometimes when there's a task that's given. And so I'm a little bit more I'm pausing a little bit more. And yeah, I feel unreal sometimes. I feel like, is this me or what? You know, but I do kind of like take a breath and I'm thinking, okay, now what did I learn from Mastermind?
Mm.
And I'm gaining a better understanding of others, which I've never, I've been just focused on what the task was at hand and why isn't everybody understanding? And it's because perhaps maybe I didn't communicate, to a level where they could receive, better. So it is humbling for me, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I gotta really step back and really appreciate others, a little bit more than I did before.
Mm.
I like people, but I just, work is work, play is
Yeah.
play, so when I work, and you know, but yeah, and then just sharing, with everyone, it just is kind of an eye opener that we're all going through the same kinds of things in different situations, kind of really similar, and how vulnerable we are open to being vulnerable, and that kind of helps me along too, because it's hard to speak with others who are not in the same situation. Am I, and I believe that we're all trying to strive to be the best that we can be, in our specific area, you know, in
Yeah.
leadership.
Yeah, and I can confidently say the majority of people do struggle with it. They just not aware. It's what like we're putting language to it, right? We're putting, that's drama. Yeah, I've had that, right? Like nobody's actually unpacked it for them so that they can say, actually, you could change that, right? So I think the more people become aware, and that's what you're talking about, Laura, the self-awareness part, that's huge. That's the beginning of all transformation. So the more people become aware of it, gosh, the better, the workplace will be, our homes will be, right? And what I love about what you said, it's kind of echoing, he told me it's about understanding other people. And that's what we're all here to do is have a better understanding of people and add value. Anybody else?
I will share an interesting weekend adventure. So I went with Lindsay to his high school reunion. I'm not even going to tell you how many years it was, but it was a long time where he couldn't even recognize some classmates. But when you go as a spouse, I don't know anybody, I have no connection, zippo. So then we were sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Okay, how am I going to start using these, communication skills here? And I am not going to go and stand. It was a cocktail party. I'm not going to go stand and mingle. So we just kind of sat, but people came, and sat down. And then, so just practicing those communication skills and building rapport with people that I absolutely did not know from Adam. And just finding common interests and letting them talk and finding out what they're excited about and finding a common ground. And yeah, so it was fun to kind of test out some of the techniques in a very awkward social event.
So
But,
did it feel awkward for you to practice the technique on a group that was awkward already for you?
well, I had nothing to lose because they didn't know me.
Yeah. And you'll never see them again.
I'll never see them. And I told Lindsay, the next reunion, you should just go to the golf event because that's where all the guys go, and that'll be it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, at least you had a place to practice. That's good.
Yes.
That's good. Okay, I know Daryl and Steven, you guys were waiting because although you're millennials, you were being quite gentlemanly. And so is there anything you would like to share?
Okay, fine, I'll go first.
Leaders, my
I'll go
amazing
first.
millennial leaders. Okay. Yeah, Steven.
I'm smiling because I gamify this whole thing for me.
Okay.
So when I'm talking to people, I think by nature, I like having fun. So sometimes I'm playing games at other people's expense and they have no idea. I probably shouldn't have said that.
No, it's on record. We recorded it. Now I'm going to put it on social media. No.
Great. Please edit that part out. Well, I mean, I like doing it. I'm trying it out on people. I think what have to catch myself sometimes is that I'm too busy doing all the mirroring, and like in my head I'm laughing and I'm having fun and I'm like, oh shoot, what are we talking about? Like I need to, I guess, sometimes come back to that part. Um but actually I mean I enjoy it because you see people's reactions, and then
Mm,
I'll sometimes, depending on the social environment, do the opposite of and not mirror and see how far away I can get um from being connected or not connected to people. So it, I do see the value in doing the mirroring, because not mirroring actually can put you um several I guess lengths away from actually connecting with people.
Yeah, because people want, they're comfortable with people who are like them, right?
Yeah.
So what other ways, I'm interested to know, like, so when you say you gamified it, it's like you just had a game with yourself in terms of what you could and could not do and playing around with it. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I gave the example, I mean, last couple times ago, but with my wife,
Yeah.
how she was on the other side of the kitchen and I'm sitting at the dining table, and like she's
Yeah.
doing her thing, we're having a conversation, then she comes and sits down and I'm mirroring her. Um, and then I asked her afterwards, I'm like, so, scale of 1 to 10, when you're at the kitchen, when you're across the room, what level of connection? It goes 2. And then after, when she sat down, and like, what was it? Like 10. And I'm like, yes. So but then I had to explain myself, so then she felt like
Right.
she,
So as you're describing, okay, so this is interesting to me. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of going on this vein because that's very interesting to me to think to hear how you're processing it. So in my generation, that sounds to me like I'm doing personal research, right? Wouldn't you guys say, for those of you around my age, kind of feels like personal research. Would that be the same?
that's
Okay,
great
that's
words.
like gamifying. Okay, great. Good to
Yeah.
know. Good to know. All right, thanks, Stephen. That was very educational for me. All right, Daryl.
For me, it was tonality that was really good. And so I actually did a lot of hard conversations recently because I told a bunch of people that were moving millions of dollars to away from you guys, basically, to somebody else. So it was just like, how do I approach it? How do I tell them in a respectful manner, but like affirmative, that we are leaving and not keeping the money there any longer, kind of thing. So yeah, it was good, and
So
it was
use the tone.
surprising.
So what did you say? I just want to know how you tell someone you're moving millions of dollars away from them.
Oh,
Because
well,
should I have to ever do this? I just want to know how I gotta do it.
basically, I told them, like, I had conversations, and this is the decision we came up to collectively, and this is a decision we are gonna liquidate, and this is the process. Basically, I gave them no room to um kind of come back me and try to like do the salesy thing. I was like, no salesy thing. Basically, to me, it's just like we're leaving. This is the plan. This is the execution. I'm going to send you an email shortly of the instructions, and if you have any questions,
So
we
what
can
was the
discuss.
tonality?
Tonality, it was
Yeah.
very affirmative and very confident, because like I wouldn't let them question my decision or the decision, but they actually respected me more because I actually called them. They said all these other people
They
would
just
not
did
even
it.
call. Would they send an email and then that's it?
So
So they,
it was absolute certainty tonality.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. Awesome. Good. All right. Well, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into our teaching time real quick. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Let me bring this down. Okay. So the key with these tools is that we are trying to get past the barrier of the subconscious mind, right? We talked about that. There's a barrier, and all their belief systems are actually the ones making the decision, those beliefs, right? So this is where the least amount of resistance is going to happen for you. And because we fail to what we fail to understand is that the majority of our conversations and interactions are really happening at this level. Communication is only 7% words. You've heard me say that before, right? So the majority of their decision making, whether they want to connect to you or not, that's a choice, right? It's all happening at this level. So imagine a particular relationship, right? I think we've all had them at some point or another where everything seems fine. And then suddenly, right, you're thinking to yourself, what just happened here? I mean, how did this conversation get to this extent? What is going on with this person? And it's because their subconscious mind and the beliefs that they hold are actually making assumptions and reacting. That's why all of this has been designed to help you the best that I knew how to get you crossing over and making those connections. So to minimize that happening where the subconscious mind is working against you, we're going to start with the definition of rapport, because tonight is about rapport building. So we're going to pull all of these elements together, and then I'm going to add a few more to help you continue to build your rapport. The definition of rapport is to have it means a relationship characterized by agreement and mutual understanding that makes communication and execution possible, but not just possible or easier, because no matter what, execution is going to happen, right? In many cases, you can't help it, but it's laborious. It could be grueling. It could be challenging because of the relationships involved, but this is to help it go a lot smoother and make it easier. So getting good at the skills that build rapport will open doors for you. It's going to create lasting relationships, and it can benefit both parties in the long run. It's my personal observation, both in my communication mistakes, because I have made many, many mistakes. I can't even count. It's just been so many. It's a lot of the reason why I have this understanding, but also because I did 16 years of inner healing and deliverance. So I understood the way people think through things and why they make their decisions. And then, of course, the certifications that I've gone through. But the primary key that makes great communication and rapport building is getting our thoughts off of ourselves and focusing on other people. Now, you've heard me say that over and over again, but here's something I haven't said before. Being focused on ourselves can be rooted in a couple of things, right? It can be rooted in insecurities. It can be rooted in pride. But here's the thing. It pulls energy from people. When we're trying to get validation, that's energy we are pulling from them because we are wanting, needing, right? So we're pulling energy from people. And it's happening at the subconscious level. We don't know we're doing it. They don't know it's happening. But here's the thing, guys, people are doing that to us as well. People are doing that to you all the time because their subconscious is wanting something in that relationship, in that dynamic. And that's why I'm careful about the people that I hang out with. They have to add energy to me as much as I add energy to them, right? Have you ever wondered why you felt depleted or tired or drained of energy when you left a particular interaction? It could be like the specific person on a regular basis. It's because that person or people that you're interacting with are pulling energy out of you because they're motivated at the subconscious level, and they don't mean to do it. They don't do it on purpose, right? They most likely have no idea that they're doing it. So when we focus on the other person, we care for those people, and then we give energy into them. It's focused on giving value to them so they feel better when they walk away from you. And that's the objective. Do they feel better when they walk away from you? It may not be overtly like, oh my gosh, that was the best conversation ever, but they don't feel drained by you either, right? And those little nuances help you to build rapport. So using effective communication techniques allows us to give energy to people and allows them to trust us, right? And that's important because everybody's asking 3 questions about you. Can you help me? Do you care about me? And can I trust you? And when they can say yes to these 3 questions, you've built rapport. So it can lead to increased collaboration with your teams, better customer service, higher employee morale, and overall improved relationships. So today I am combining the topics of having difficult conversations with building rapport, because challenging conversations are so much easier to have when you've maintained rapport with people on a consistent basis. So maybe you're wondering, how can you make more of an impact around you, right? In some way or another. Or maybe how can you attract better quality people or the right kind of people? Or maybe it's been frustrating to get collaboration from others the way you need it to be. It could be that rapport is unknowingly being broken or was never really established. And have you ever had a salesperson, for instance, right? An agent or a coworker, or anyone really for that matter, who promises that they're going to follow through on something, and then once you bought their product or service, they drop the ball, right? Maybe it's a coworker that they had an application to the project that you were working on. They had application steps to do, and they didn't do it. You just discovered that they dropped the ball. That is a big rapport killer, right? So it's about follow through. Well, how do you have that conversation with your coworker when the lack of follow through needs to be addressed? Is it possible to have different definitions of what follow through looks like? Maybe, but you'd have to have that conversation to find out. So how do you make your needs known without offending somebody? How do you inform them that they're not fulfilling their verbal agreement and try to keep the relationship at the same time? Or maybe a vendor. I don't know, a vendor or somebody that you have to interact with that just doesn't stop talking every time you see them. I mean, you can't get a word in edgewise, and you might stick with them because it's easier than finding a new vendor, or, at the end of the day, they do a good job, but every time you have to run in with them, you brace yourself, you prepare yourself. How are you going to have this conversation as fast as possible? How are you going to get the information you need quickly out of that person, right? Well, they broke rapport, didn't they? So let's be clear. Rapport is not commonality, what you have in common. You can connect on maybe a few points of similarity for sure. In fact, in my next mastermind on the principles of influence, we're going to be talking about the principle of liking, but it can be overdone. Too many common connections, and it plants in the subconscious mind that you don't value their time or your own time. And that's why I told you the story I shared a few weeks ago about the representative I sat down with. I shared about how I said, I've been thinking about how to shoot those green parrots. I mean, that was a perfect setup. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better setup in terms of a common point that would push past his perceived ideas of me and put his guard down. But here's the thing. I didn't go on and on about shooting other kinds of birds, right? We didn't have that conversation. I didn't have a conversation on what kind of BB gun would be the best brand and where might I practice so that nobody gets hurt. None of that happened, right? I didn't move to other subjects to see if there were other similar points of commonality between us. It can convey that I don't respect his time. And that's the same with running off topic. See, most people, except your best friend, especially if they're a woman, don't care about all the details that you think are important unless it affects them personally. So for my C's in the group, who I love tremendously, I love C's, they help keep me organized. Have your details on standby should you be asked, but understand that most people can't absorb the amount of information your amazing brain can absorb. Just like I dumped a whole bunch of information on you guys for Mastermind, and I was aware that it's not possible to absorb it all. It's just way too much. So I have had to work hard on staying with my facts, sticking with them, right? Only pertaining to the topic if it helps the situation. I've also worked on focusing on answering the question that was asked, because I was very undisciplined in that. I was also an I. I still am also an I, and not running off subject. And I am still working on it. My board president, I had to present something to the board for a vote, and he said, okay, keep it really short and just stick to the main points. I said, yeah, I'm thinking to myself, I always stick to the main points. Of course, when I got to the meeting, I ran out of time and realized I never came to the ask. So I'm still working on it, right? All right, we're going to take a break here and have a discussion. Okay, so what we're going to start talking about here is, the first question I have for you is, what are some things you notice people do that breaks rapport? What are some things you notice people do that breaks rapport?
They interrupt.
Yep, that's a big rapport breaker. Anybody else? What do people do that break rapport with you?
And they talk about themselves only.
Yep. Yeah. What about if you're in a professional meeting? I mean, any kind of meeting, please share whatever it is that comes up, but I'm also kind of interested in what breaks rapport for you when you're in a professional meeting.
When your meeting goes, they allow the meeting to go well over the time that was allotted.
Yeah. Good. Anything else? This is all
that
helpful for
topic?
everybody. Sorry, what? Who spoke?
I did. I said
Okay.
it goes, they take it off topic.
Okay. Anybody else? What breaks rapport?
No agenda.
Good. Good. Anything else that's coming to you? How do people break rapport? Okay. So for those of you who didn't answer, you're going to go to the next question for me. Okay. How do you know if you have rapport with someone or you don't?
Eye contact.
So are you saying, okay, wait, are you saying it breaks rapport if they don't have eye contact? Or are you saying you know you have rapport because they're giving you eye contact? Okay, great. Great. What are some ways that you know you have rapport? He told me. Or if you don't, do you know if you have rapport with someone or you don't? He told me, do you have something?
Maybe if they're contributing into the conversation, or there's more like interaction.
Okay, good. All right. For other people, how do you know if you have rapport or not? Or maybe the answer is like, I actually don't know. I think I know, or something, because I think I always thought I knew because I'm a D. I think I know everything. So how do you know how would you know if you do or do not have rapport? What are some ways that you know you don't have rapport?
Kind of feel their energy.
Okay. Yeah. Heidi?
I can say, at least for my team, if I don't have their rapport, they just agree with everything I say. They don't ask me one question. And that's when I know, okay, we got to start over because it's bad.
That's good. That's good awareness. All right, Daryl, how do you know if you have rapport with someone or you don't?
For me, it's more if like engagement, like kind of like body language, if their body's away from me, or if they're not paying attention, or like that's the kind of stuff I look at. I kind of just see facial expressions, body language, and see how they're if they like short answers or quick answers, and it's like, okay, this person doesn't want to talk, or
Yeah,
kind of
good. Good. Okay, we're going to go to the next question. And Stephen and Karen, you guys can lead us off with this one. How do you want difficult conversations to be conducted when directed at you? Everybody else can think as well, because when they're done, you can chime in. Karen.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Yes. How do you want difficult conversations to be conducted when directed at you? Maybe somebody has to bring up something you've done or you didn't do well or whatever it is, right?
For me, it's knowing that they are, first of all, respecting my time. So to start off, like, do you have a moment? Is this a good time? And that puts me at ease. And then for them to just be direct instead of sugarcoating and beating around the bush and going on and on and on, just like get to the point so we can discuss it and move forward.
Yeah, that is a D quality. Saying that to Karen because she's an I. All right, Stephen.
I'm a Band-Aid ripper offer. So how I would want it to be, I guess, presented to me is just, give it to me straight. And then go into the details. Give me the punchline up front and then, give me all the supporting detail after. But I would prefer it to be a conversation rather than I guess a dump, because then I will probably feel attacked.
Yeah, that's good because when you were describing it, I was like, I don't know, I would feel attacked, but that's a good context that you just put in there. So both of you are kind of an ID. So with it wanting it straight, so when you say what would you want peppered into that conversation? Right? You're saying you don't want to feel attacked. How can they pepper things in there? What can they put in there to make you feel like you're not being attacked?
I say this because I do this. Like if it's gonna be bad news or it's gonna be something that's a harder pill to swallow, if you will. Depending on who it is. I mean, so I guess environment is everything. So if it's like a family context, I'll probably I guess start it off with I need you to prepare your heart, or because it gets them, I guess, in a different headspace rather than just coming right out, because then they could be blindsided. If it's in a workplace environment or a workplace thing, I thought I had one, but I'd probably say something to a similar effect up front, just to kind of get them in an emotional state that's not going to catch them off guard, or try not to. I can't be perfect, but
Well,
try.
no, this is about being directed towards you.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yep.
vice
Okay.
versa.
Okay.
How I do it is how I would want to receive it.
Okay. Okay, great. Anybody else? Anybody else? How do you want difficult conversations to be conducted towards? Yes, he told me.
It's funny because I think that I hem and haw when I have to give, but I think if I'm on the other end, I want it to be direct, but if it's mixed in with some like positive and not just all negative and just bam bam bam, would be easier for me to receive.
Good. Good. Anybody else? Okay. All right. We're going to move on to the next section of this. Give me 1 second. All right. So building rapport with people before the difficult conversations have to be had is the preemptive work of ensuring your success. And it requires us to be aware of any prejudices, any biases, any self-belief systems you hold that colors your attitude going into the conversation. So you have to do that check, and then you can go back to the lessons. I have a couple of exercises we've done throughout the weeks. Go back to those lessons and deal with those belief systems before you go into any kind of conversation. Putting aside preconceived notions helps to create an atmosphere where difficult conversations are more likely to be productive. So remember to be intentional about declaring that they have good intent. So check yourself on that. Are you automatically assuming that they don't have a good intent and not realizing it? So it requires making sure that you believe they have good intent. And that's going to ensure a productive, value-adding conversation. So other things to do when having a difficult conversation is asking lots of questions, clarifying questions. They can be like, could you please rephrase that question? Because you want to make sure you understand the context of the question before you jump in and answer. Or could you give me context of what you just said, right? That type of thing. Make sure that you understand exactly what their perspective and intent is. And those types of questions help to ensure you're understanding them correctly. And sometimes a conversation is difficult because we feel intimidated by a person or the situation. That can happen for some, especially if your personality lends itself to be more on the S or C side, right? So here are some ways to minimize that. Be prepared before the meeting. So you go in knowing. Now, sometimes you'll be prepared for a meeting and it won't even go down that way, but at least you were prepared, right? So when you got in there and it was going the way it should, then you have it ready to go. You'd be able to say what you need to say in 10 to 20 minutes. 20 is going to be like if you have data, but have that data ready in bullet points so that the person can ask you questions and you've got it right there, or you can give it to them to hold on to and look through when they're ready, whether it's an email or what. Do your thinking before the meeting and come prepared. I can't tell you how many people just walk into a meeting unprepared. Do your thinking. What are the bullet points you want to get across? What is it that they're thinking? What's the perspective you need to have? You can do that NLP exercise we did where you're sitting in your perspective, their perspective, and the perspective from above, right? What is your meeting objective? What is the objective commitment in this interaction? Make sure you know what that outcome is supposed to be for you. And think about creating a win-win in every situation applicable. See, when you are prepared and you know your desired outcomes, that's a show of respect for someone. And here's the last key. When going into a difficult conversation or any interaction really, right? Look to solve a problem and be intentional about resourcing that person, right? So if they have a problem and you can solve it, you can resource them, you can give them what they need in some way, that is an excellent way to diffuse any potential difficult conversation. Being a giver with your resources, solutions, network, with the intention to add value, it's going to open doors for you. Understand that this is not to be confused with offering your personal advice, right? That is a different thing. Sometimes people don't want advice. They don't want to be told what to do, right? So you give it as a, way to solve a problem in a way that doesn't sound like advice. People want to know that you can deliver. What problem can you solve for them? Help to solve their problem, provide a deliverable, and it'll make the difficult conversation so much easier because solving their problem builds trust. And trust is a currency to all leadership. When people feel that they can trust you, it positions you so that they'll receive what you have to say, and it makes them more receptive to your insights. Okay, we're going to stop share. Okay. Now, based on what you've just learned, all the things that we've learned through this mastermind is about building rapport. What do you think? There's a lot here, guys. So it's okay if you need time to think about it and just pick one. It doesn't have to be the top. Just pick one, right? Based on what we've learned, what do you think is going to be your strongest skill right now to work on that will help you build rapport? And it could be something you shared earlier. It doesn't matter. What do you think is going to be your strongest point to work on that's going to help you build rapport?
For me, I think it's going to be listening.
Good.
So I know what questions to ask and how to identify what objectives and goals are.
Good. Listening so that you know what questions to ask. That's great. Mary Lou, you unmuted.
I would say thinking things through in advance. That would help me a lot.
Good. Good, good, good. Who's next? Just jump in there.
For me, it would be same as it'd be listening as well. But I think it's also like not trying to come up with something in my head to answer whatever, or kind of just framing. It's just really being present to listen and then ask questions, clarifying questions, and then go with oh, how does that make you feel? Or, those kind of things.
Yeah, good, good. Those kind of things. How you feel? Good, good, good. Okay, who's next?
Yeah, I agree with that one, Daryl. Listening with intent, not prejudging, not thinking what I'm going to say next. Just really intentionally listening to what are they saying, and then trying to solve the problem.
Yeah, yeah. He told me you unmuted. You want to go?
Yeah, I was just gonna say mine would be the same as Mary Lou, to think in advance, because I think sometimes I take a while to formulate my thoughts. So just doing that ahead of time, and also just preparing not only what I'm thinking and what I want to say, but just myself, so that I'm not coming in with, preconceived, like just assumptions or prejudices, with this person. And in that way.
Good. Good. Karen or Stephen?
We're always last. I guess just echoing what everyone else is saying is just being a better listener. I think part of me, or I like to give advice, so being to kind of hold back on that, because a lot of times people, by just talking and you asking them the good questions, kind of know what the answer is anyway. It helps them formulate it.
That's exactly right. Stephen?
Probably for me, it's the listening piece, and then also trying to, I guess, figure out the win-win.
Yeah. What would you do to work on looking for a win-win in situations? How do you think you'd go about doing that?
By asking good questions and trying to figure out, I guess, people definitely have their own agenda. When they're talking, so they're kind of marching down a specific avenue. Maybe it's a couple, but they have a specific point of direction that they're trying to move in. And trying to figure out, okay, well, what about that? Is it the destination? Is there parts along the way that are important to them? And a lot of that's going to get drawn out by some of the questions that are being asked. And then trying to figure out, okay, well, probably can't. It'd be great if we can do all of it. Sometimes you can't, but what's going to be acceptable? What can we do? And it's a bit of negotiation, but at least being able to come out of that conversation or that meeting where everyone feels like, okay, well, didn't get everything, but I'm actually happy and satisfied with where we're ended up with.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good skill to execute on a regular basis. Okay, so what is the one thing? So you talked about where you can get better of all the things that we've covered. Is there anything that you guys are going to say, I'm going to really work on this one thing, this, moving out of it? So here's my objective. Let me just talk about my commitment objective with this question. Okay. It's the fact that I gave you guys so much information. Like, let's just work on one thing at a time, right? So what's one thing you're like, okay, you've already talked about, what you're walking away from that, is your strongest skill that you can keep working on. But what's one thing that maybe is yeah, let's do it that way. What's one thing that's different than what you picked? Maybe it's not your strongest skill that you feel like you want to just practice that a little bit more. Maybe it feels awkward. Which one stands out to you as one that you want to add to the practice all the time to get good at it? I see everybody's eyes moving. I'm watching your eyes moving. I know where it's going in your brain.
I can go first.
Okay.
I was gonna say something inappropriate, but
You didn't
I
have to
think
tell
for
us that.
sorry. Um, I I would want to work on, I guess, being short and or keeping it concise. I think for me, I tend to want to talk about other things and it gets longer, so it may not stay on topic. So I'll end with that.
Good, 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 good. Okay, who's next? What's one thing you're going to add to your repertoire of rapport building you're going to work on?
I think I totally tend to not think things through in advance. So I think I'm going to work on that.
Okay, but you said that last time. Oh, okay. So that wasn't, okay, I got it. That wasn't the strongest skill. That was something you wanted to work on the first time. Okay. So then do you have a stronger skill that you feel you're more comfortable with that you're going to keep working on as well? That we got to flip it with you.
Okay, then I feel like I'm pretty good at solving problems.
Ah, okay, good.
So
That's great. We need more problem solvers in this world. Okay, Heidi.
I think to build on to what Stephen was saying, definitely to be more concise and, not too talkative, but also what Daryl was talking about, I keep wanting to call it positive command, but that's not it.
Absolute certainty.
Absolute certainty. Yes. I really got to do that more.
That is week number 5. You can review that recording. We did the tonalities in that class. Okay, who's next? Yes, Laura, you got to go. Kate, what's the one thing you're going? Laura has to catch a flight.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Yep. What's the thing you're going to apply that you're?
So many
need to grow in?
things.
Just pick one. No, don't get overwhelmed. Just pick one. Just pick one.
Life is too short. I mean, I have to enjoy where I'm at and just enjoy the process. What I'm thinking.
Don't be overwhelmed. Just one thing.
My tone.
You've been applying a lot of, okay,
tone.
tones, great.
Tone.
Well, you've been applying that. So you're applying a lot of things. So
Tonality.
okay,
It
good.
Makes a whole lot of difference.
It does. Okay,
Because,
so keep working on it.
Tone
then.
with a smile.
That's right, with a smile and affirmation.
Yeah. Okay, guys. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Next class.
Okay, who's next? What is one thing that you're not good at, or I didn't say it that way, but something that you need to apply that you want to work on, just one thing.
I think I got it backwards a little bit like Mary Lou did too. I think the thinking through is what I need to work on because
Okay.
but for the purpose of, like Stephen said, so that I can be kind of concise in what I'm saying. So on the other end, I think maybe my stronger point is maybe listening to people.
Good. Yeah, you're an excellent listener. Absolutely. All right, guys, I got Daryl and Karen.
For me, I don't know. I'm pretty concise when it comes to work. My work meetings, I guess maybe doing a little bit more preparation on the front end. I try to prepare, but I think I can get even better so that I really have a clear objective and I have it written down. And that's one thing that's going to be answered by the end of the meeting.
Good. That's going to feel very rewarding, I promise. Daryl.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Okay, so we just talked about what do you think is your strongest skill and what are you going to keep implementing? But then now we're talking about what is one thing that we learned in the whole mastermind, because they're all towards helping you build rapport. What's the one thing you learned that maybe you're not as great at and you want to start implementing on a regular basis?
I think it has to do with what was the thing you just talked about it earlier about like the trust aspect,
Building trust?
not the trust, like going into conversation. I don't remember what it was, but basically it has to do with oh my gosh, I can't remember what it was.
I'm trying to look at my notes to help you out.
It was either a coaching session that we had or
Yeah, that might be. All right. All right. So just, you don't have any words for what you're going to work on then? What you feel like you need to work more on?
I do feel like it's just going in with like connect versus task.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we did talk about that. All right,
Yeah.
good. Now, the reason why I make you guys say it is that when people are having to say it towards other people, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to work on. The chances of them actually implementing that increases in percent. And I don't remember what the percentage is, but it's significant, right? So having you say that is really critical to have you continue with the journey. You just spent all this time together and your resources to learn in this area of communication. You've got all the recordings available to you to look back at. I'm going to have my assistant send you an email with every link to every recording on the YouTube account. So you can access, I would just save that email and then you can access it and then make that something you're going to practice for a couple of weeks and then go to the next lesson and make that something you're going to practice for the next couple of weeks. But the point is, keep it going because you will see results. 100%. I have no absolute certainty if you apply these things, you are going to see results because I've seen it in my own life, right? But it takes time. So you have to commit to it. It's going to make you better in so many ways. All right. As we wrap up, I want to give you this cheat sheet that I worked on. It is in your chat right now, and I'm going to blow it up. And so as you look at it, actually, I'm going to just blow it up for me, not for you. So as you look at it, it's kind of breaking it down. So here's your cheat sheet. So whenever you're not sure how to approach something. So if your cortisol level's going up because you're getting emotionally charged and you have to address someone and you don't have a chance to recover, like this is a really great cheat sheet for you, right? So remind yourself, appreciate, validate situation. So right there are some suggestions on how you can phrase things in a way that shows appreciation. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. You know, I noticed that you did this, right? And affirm that I witnessed you doing that. People don't think people are looking. So when you point out something you saw, they're thinking, oh my gosh, you saw that. And it was something good they did that helps them to feel appreciated, right? And I like that you did this or said this or whatever. And here's why: validation. So there's some questions. I like how you did that because it showed your integrity in the, so you're validating qualities, work ethic, whatever it is. And so here's the situation. Now help me could you help me understand this? It could be, can you help me with this situation? But it could also be, can I help you, get this accomplished? Is there a way that I can help you with this? What can I do to resource you to make this smoother, right? You're there to help them. And then of course, a little bonus one. I use this all the time when I have to have a conversation with somebody who's really firm in their standpoint and they're just not seeing it from this other person's viewpoint. Then I'll say this phrase. I do use this quite often. So I'm hoping that you're going to be able to use that cheat sheet in a way that benefits you. Okay. Any questions at all about what we just covered? Any thoughts about what we just covered? No thoughts, no thinking going on. Any
This is
thoughts?
just what I wanted. I
Okay.
always wondered about, having difficult conversations and all that.
Yeah, short of practicing, which we, in this mastermind, we didn't make that the focus for this topic. I'm giving you the tools that I can, but we'll do another one where we can actually do some role playing. Did you guys find the role playing helpful or not helpful? Okay, all right. We'll make sure that we do more of that again for the one that I'm going to be doing in late fall, late summer, Cialdini's work on influence. We are going to do some application stuff. In order for you to really get the concept and principles so you can execute it in your situations, you have to have those interaction times to work on it. All right, so this is what we do for those of you who are accustomed to being in a mastermind with me, is that we close out with saying some final words. It could be anything. It could be something you want to say to the group, anything at all that you want to say as a way to close out. And I'm going to pick Karen. Oh, no, I'm not going to pick Karen. Sorry, you're new to mastermind. I'm going to pick Hitomi. And Hitomi, when you're done sharing whatever it is you want to share, then you pick the next person and so on and so forth.
I knew you were gonna pick me.
Did you? Because you know why? You're a good listener, so you would have heard me.
I just want to just thank everybody because I've gained so much more, not only just in the information, the great information that you gave us, Leila, but just in the discussions, in the role play that we did with each other. And that was so helpful. So just thank each one of you for just adding value to me and helping in my journey of trying to learn to communicate well. So I just want to end with just that note.
And who are you going to pick?
Oh, I'm going to pick Mary Lou.
I knew you were going to pick me. But hey, everybody, I just got so much value from all of you because, all your different personality types and what you said affects you. And I just feel like I understand other people so much more now. And from practicing these things that I learned, I'm just so excited because I see results right away. And I want to see more. And I just feel so excited. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to pick Daryl.
I'm gonna just continue. I was like, I knew you were gonna pick me.
Oh my gosh. Wait, did you really?
Yeah, I actually did. Prophetic,
I know we got a prophetic group here. Okay.
Just want to thank you everyone for the role playing, and it's just like awesome that I can do it with a bunch of D's and I's. So it helps me because like my office is a bunch of D's and I's. So it's really good. And there's a bunch of C's too. So it's gonna like be able to have that conversation and do it in live play and like immediately apply it to my workplace. So that's super awesome. And I just thank you for your growth too, because it just seeing you guys grow inspires me to continue to keep going after and pushing too. So thank you. See you all in the next one too. So yeah, that's all.
And who are you going to pick?
I go with Steven.
I knew you were going to pick Steven.
I didn't. I thought I was gonna go last. I'm super thankful for everybody. I enjoyed the role playing. Because I think Lily did a good job about pairing each and every one of us with somebody who has a different personality. So it makes it a little bit challenging. And I think that's probably for me I'm the unicorn in the engineering world, or at least in my office. I have a bunch of C's and S's. Everyone looks at me and it just scratches their head. But I enjoyed being able to talk with everyone because it gives me a different perspective. And it's allowed me to kind of slow my thinking and caused me to purposefully try to listen more and ask better questions.
Good, good. So you have Heidi or Karen?
We'll go with Heidi.
I feel like everybody summed up what I was thinking.
I know you
But
gotta think of
But I
something.
want to say, like, I love the fact this is like judge-free zone. right? Like you all just came every day, and this is my first mastermind I've ever done. And the fact that you're so honest and open and transparent, and even when we were doing the role playing, just really being serious about doing that, I really felt like everybody wanted to be on this journey together and make sure that we each got what we needed out of it and really encourage each other. So I really want to thank you all. It was such a great experience, and I really greatly appreciated it.
Yeah, Karen, can you bring us home?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, my first mastermind class as well. One of the things that I noted in my survey that I wish we could have done more was, I wish there was a way that we could actually have met in person, because to see each other on screen is one thing, but to be in person is another. And there are some of you that I didn't have one-on-one time with, and so that would have been fun too. But I get it. We had so much content and just only 6 weeks to do it. But thank you, everybody. I learned so much, and I really appreciated the different generations. And Stephen and Daryl, you folks are both so brave, with all of us women here. So I learned a lot from you too as well. So thank you, Layla. You're an amazing coach and an
you.
excellent communicator. So anyway, very blessed. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to hear insights on ways that we can do it personally, because here's the thing, when you first talk to somebody who's never done it, they're like, oh, is it going to be, because they want to do it faster. I can do it online. I can jump on, I can be in my office, whatever. But it's when you start to connect with one another that you realize it could be good if we did it personally. So maybe there's a way we could transition to in person at some point, or do a couple here, there. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. Help me to figure out how we can make it a better experience, because I do think there, the in-person one is the connecting in person is so important for sure. Thanks for bringing that up, Karen. Okay, guys, I'm going to wrap us up right now, and we're going to jump off early so that some of the people can finish their surveys. It's in the chat. The link is in the chat to do the surveys. But hey, I want to thank you guys for trusting me to take you on this journey. Thank you for being so game. Like, oh my gosh, he's throwing this at us and that at us. And, and thank you for helping me to make this a better experience as we keep going, because it'll just keep growing and growing. There's a lot more content that's going to come out of this mastermind that I'll be able to do company trainings with. And so I'm very thankful that you guys have gone on this journey with me. Look forward to more masterminds coming up in the late summer, like I said, in the fall. Lots of great things coming down. Okay, so have a great evening. And this is not goodbye. This is just a little bit of a break before the next one, right? All right. Thank you for filling out that survey. And for those of you who need to fill out your survey, stay here. You're not dismissed. Okay. So wait, Heidi, you have to unmute. What did you say?
I actually did do mine.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you for doing it. Bye. And by the way, I was trying really hard. Oh, wait, let me stop this recording.